My name is John. I am the proud founder of a company called Condo.Fund. We're a small syndication, real estate investment syndication group over in Portland, Oregon. It's pretty awesome. We buy small apartment buildings, convert them into first-time home buyer starter home condos, specifically for people at that 80% AMI threshold. We help low and modest means income people buy their first home. That's our whole mission. So just a little plug. Our whole motto, we consider ourselves compassionate capitalists. We help build communities and build wealth. Today's video is a little dense. History lesson, demographics lesson. 80% of the United States population lives east of the Mississippi River, right? Largest river in the country, largest river on the continent. Mississippi River basically divides east and west. 80% live over there. Only 20% live on the west side of the Mississippi. So that's an important fact to start with. I was talking to a really good friend of mine, Bill, yesterday, talking about how East Coast doesn't even have an urban growth boundary, for example, right? You guys just do sprawl. You go from one city to another city to another city to another city, and you're just sprawled out, which is fine, and that's no shade. I'm just saying, but there's a very distinct style of growth between East Coast investments and West Coast investments. Here in Portland, we have what's called the urban growth boundary, and it's a very specific line, right? It is night and day difference of where you can and cannot build. I want to explain that for a second. Over here, this is the Columbia River. This is the second largest river in the entire country. I live up here in Vancouver. This is Vancouver, Washington. This is Portland, Oregon. You'll note there's a lot of water around here. There are 7 rivers and 3 volcanoes feeding into the Portland region. So you've got Mount Hood. Mount Hood's right here. Mount Adams is right here, and Mount Rainier's way up there, about 2 hours north, but just about 45 minutes to an hour north is Mount St. Helens. So St. Helens, Mount Adams over here, Mount Hood right over here. Plus you've got all these rivers, right? 7 different rivers feeding in. So Portland is extremely land constrained, right? If you look at a map of how Seattle and San Francisco were formed, and also really San Diego, the West Coast cities are really built as either deep water harbors. That's primarily it. And so they're always built around water, and they're really land constrained. Up in Seattle, there's literally one bridge that connects 3.5 million people, right? One bridge. It's like 9 lanes wide because there's water everywhere and mountains everywhere. We're super land constrained, and that's great for investors. My friend Michael up in Seattle, he's got a crushingly good syndication business because Seattle's basically built on the postage stamp, and you can't expand out. Portland is built on the postage stamp size, and you cannot expand out. Why is that good for investors? Because the law simply will not let you build beyond these borders. If you're up in Vancouver, in Vancouver, Clark County, we do not have an urban growth boundary, and you can very easily see the difference in sprawl, right? The city of Vancouver downtown core is only about 8 or 9 or 15 blocks long. It's probably 15 blocks wide and about 25 blocks long, right? That's the downtown core of Vancouver. Whereas the downtown core of Vancouver is 100 blocks long, right? Very dense, very compact. And now Vancouver up here is just sprawling, right? It's just growing to the east east and growing to the north, but there is no downtown core. We don't have light rail up in Vancouver, right? We don't have a good transit system. Vancouver is basically built on 5 different 5-mile long strip malls. That's the definition of Vancouver. Like, you can literally see where our strip malls are and how the city has developed over the last 40 years. Whereas you see in Portland, it's super dense, super compacted. And from an investor standpoint, that's gold, because it means sprawl cannot happen. Not that nobody's expecting it. It simply cannot happen. If you own property in this interior core, it's only going to go up in value. We've all seen '08, we've all seen economic black swans, but generally speaking, 98 times out of 100, prices in the urban core are going up. And so I wanted to explain the value of an urban growth boundary, because our East Coast investors, they don't get it. They don't understand the economics of how important this is. Seattle has an urban growth boundary, Portland, San Francisco, San Diego, Los Angeles does not. But like the core cities on the West Coast, we all have this super tight constraint, which makes our values, our property values, just skyrocket. We have incredible livability, right? With all the mountains, if you have any inkling to do winter sports, this is paradise. All of our rivers, if you have any inkling to do summer sports activities, this is paradise. Oh yeah, and by the way, we have the Pacific Ocean about 45 minutes this way. If that's your thing, you can do that too. We live in paradise. Okay, that's the urban growth boundary. This is where obviously where our properties are. That's what we do. Reach out to me, DM me, get in on LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn. John@condo.fund. That's my email address. I'm genuinely interested in talking to people who want to solve the housing affordability crisis. I want to talk to people who are interested in collaborating. Love to talk to you if you'd like to invest. I'd love to talk to you if you want to buy one of our condos. Got to be an owner occupant to buy one of our condos though. Okay, hope that was helpful. It's a little bit longer video. I hope you got something out of it. Please DM me and schedule time on my calendar. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.